We just got the end of February development update for Motocross The Game, and this one is actually a really important one. Not because there's some giant flashy feature drop, but because the foundation of the game is clearly getting stronger. Since their last update, the team released a new gameplay video, and the response from the community was honestly massive. Now, I want to say this before we even break down the update, alright? If you're even slightly interested in this game, wishlist on Steam. It sounds small, but you know, for like games like this, wishlists, they generally determine visibility, funding confidence for like investors and long-term support. So it directly affects how far this project can go. But now let's break it down, what actually happened in February and why some of these behind-the-scenes systems matter more than you might think. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is the environment improvements. Okay, it's subtle but important. They added wind effects like the grass and flowers. So now it might sound minor, but environmental movements add life to the track. So when you're riding, static environments feel like a game. When things move naturally, it feels, like a place. So small detail, big immersion gain. Second is multiplayer framework. Boys, okay, multiplayer is still a work in progress, but they're doing development on it. All right, here's why this matters. Multiplayer isn't something you add later. It has to be built into the architecture of the game early. All right, the fact that they're steadily working on the framework right now means they're building the game around online. Okay, that's gonna be awesome. Esports, bro. Not trying to bolt it on afterward, okay, like some other games do, but this is a very good sign. All right, number 3, this is one of the most underrated updates in the entire list, the advanced off-track detection system. So this detection is going to determine like the cutting penalties, the track limits, the making sure your laps count, the competitive integrity. All right, if this system isn't solid, you're going to have a lot of cuts like we have in MX bikes, man. Okay, online racing is going to become a mess. So version 1.0 being completed means race control systems are starting to lock in. And then we got another 3D scan track. Still work in progress, but they added another 3D scan track to the project. That tells us two things. They're serious about realism, and then their pipeline for importing scan tracks is improving. So every new scan track makes the world feel more authentic, especially for sim riders. And then probably the biggest thing is the physics tuning, okay? This is the heart of everything. They mention ongoing physics tuning and daily progress. That's huge, in my opinion. Physics is not a feature, it's the game. The fact that it's being refined daily tells me that they're really kind of changing constantly instead of locking in something too early. So that's how you build a real motocross sim. Then you got track pits logic. This means pit areas now have logic tied to them. So instead of just decorative pits, they're becoming part of race flow. That's a step towards full event immersion, okay? Rider customization, you got continued development there. Customization matters more than people think. Identity keeps players invested. If you can build your rider the way you want, visually and mechanically, you're more connected to the experience. And with that, flaggers being brought to life, still work in progress. This is another immersion detail. Flaggers reacting dynamically adds realism, rule awareness, and the atmosphere. Okay, it's subtle, but it changes how races feel. Then pretty much you got the full race logic implemented. This might be the biggest update of the month. They implemented start sequence, lap counting, timing, white flag, checkered flag, detection of lap riders. That means the core race structure now exists, man. This is no longer just riding around the track. It's becoming an organized race system. That's a massive milestone. Now, number 10 is a rider dirt layer system integrated into gameplay. Okay, the dirt accumulation now connects directly to the gameplay. That means visuals aren't just cosmetic. They're reacting to what's happening on the track. The more systems talk to each other, the more cohesive the experience becomes, okay? They also connected Motocross The Game website accounts directly to the game. That tells us they're thinking long term, okay? The accounts mean, the profiles, the stats, the potential online progression, the organized multiplayer, pro races, man. Everything we're thinking, they're doing. All right. And then the internal fence / barrier placement like tool, I think it is. This one's actually kind of smart, or really smart. They built a custom tool to quickly place fences and barriers. That speeds up track racing massively. So big dub for, track creators. Now, here's where it gets exciting. What's next? The focus moving forward, okay? They got continued bike settings and physics tuning. You got the rider reacting dynamically to physics data, collision-driven animation, steering improvements, crash logic implementation, track deformation improvements, multiplayer framework expansion, the UI creation and integration. It's a lot, but let's talk about a couple of these, okay? The rider reacting to physics data. This means the animations won't be like pre-canned. They'll be driven by what the bike is actually doing. Okay, so if you land too far nose down, the rider reacts accordingly. That's how you create believable crashes and movement. Then you got the crash logic implementation. This is huge because, crash systems define risk versus reward, skill ceiling, race tension. If crashes feel fair and realistic, you're not getting those Poposo physics, the game becomes more competitive. If they feel random, it kills the experience, okay? So this is a critical stage. Then you got steering improvements. So steering, everyone will probably agree with me on this. Steering feel is everything in motocross games. If they nail the steering response and weight transfer feel, this project could generally separate itself from games like MX Sim, MX Bikes, Legends, everything. So big picture, what I like about this update is there's no fluff. This is a system building month. So race logic, physics iteration, infrastructure, multiplayer framework, animation systems, they're layering the foundation. And that's exactly what you want to see at this stage of development, not marketing hype, real progress. So my final thoughts, they close the update by thanking the community again. And honestly, that support matters. Like I said at the beginning of this video, every wish list, every comment, every video that we make, it keeps momentum alive. If you want a serious motocross simulation to exist, this is a stage where support matters most, okay? They're clearly committed to delivering the motocross sim we've all been asking for. And right now, it looks like they're building it the right way. But yeah, y'all let me know down in the comments below, what did y'all think of this month's update? And if you haven't already, please go watch where I try to qualify for my first Aero Pro race. And we finally do it. So yeah, y'all check that out, see how I do. And y'all subscribe too if you want to see more of these Motocross The Game updates or any MX Bikes challenges. But that's it for me. I'll see y'all over there in that next video. And it's your boy Tommy, aka Boxule, and I'm out. Peace.